Akpabio is currently on hot seat as I speak to you. He said he want to send some lawmakers to U.S. Parliament, okay, to go and speak to them, okay, so that they don't designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, okay, and so also to make things known to them that both Christians and Muslims are the one going through the insecurity in Nigeria. Now, America fearless journalist by the name Lara Logan, he gave it hot to them. He said the media, they covers the image of Islam, but they ignore the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. These are not sentimental talk. You need to hear this journalist. And she also went further. How Nigerian journalists, they are only taking a side of the government. Whatever the government say they should say is what they said. Is what they will say. You understand what I'm saying now? So now, don't forget, one of the victims was in the US recently. He detailed everything that is happening. A man ago was also there, right? Now, Akpabio is sending lawmakers. The lawmakers, they're not government officials. This is very interesting. Let me like it and please share. You're going to listen to Arise TV, the way they humble Akpabio. You're also going to listen to American journalist Lara Logan. Please let me share this and watch today. It's a short one.
If you look at what is happening in the Southeast, predominantly Christians, most of those that are killed in the Southeast, including the late husband of our demise icon, Dora Akunyili, the way the man was shot dead and everything, will you come and ascribe that to religion? I'm talking about what IPOP is doing. You see brothers killing brothers. Okay, so the sit-at-home that is going on Mondays in the Southeast that has almost crippled the economy of the Southeast. Is targeted at Christians or Muslims? So Nigeria has complex security situations, and we should actually go out there and educate people, because the moment they bring sanctions will breed poverty. Poverty knows no religion. So for me, engagement will be the best. So when we go into executive session, we can decide to set up a small ad hoc committee to go to United States of America and engage our colleague parliamentarians there, and then to also educate them.
I'd like your thoughts. Let me start with you, Ayo, since I started with you, Rufat, about Godswill Akpabio even trying to send a delegation to the United States to, sit with them and let them know what really is going on. Because it also touched on how sanctions would affect Nigeria eventually if this happens.
I think that's the most, what Nigerians are worried about the most.
Correct.
Because of the consequence of being listed as a country of particular concern. And this is the highest condemnation by the United States on countries that are seen to not tolerate or promote religious freedom. Nigeria was listed or designated in 2020, and we're removed from that list in 2021. And, like you mentioned, it can bring economic sanctions and some aids being pulled away from the country as a way to serve as a measure to deter this. But let me talk about Senate President Akpabio, the uncommon senator, asking that he might put together a team of senators to go to America. For what exactly? Let the facts speak for themselves. Instead of spending Nigeria's hard-earned money and our resources to take our senators abroad, can we fix some of the challenges that he himself highlighted in trying to justify that it's not a religious targeted attack? He talked about issues around people being killed, citing the example of Professor Doyo Akinyuli's husband, very unfortunate one there. He talked about what happens in the Middle East and people being bombed. He talked about IPOP sit at home. These are real issues of concern, of security, whether or not they are religiously motivated. Can we sit down in our country and fix those issues rather than becoming a laughing stock in the world? And so a better solution would be for the Senate to come together and prefer or take a deep action, a specific action against violence and acts of terrorism in Nigeria against any Nigerian citizen. I think it's quite a shame as well, Oji, that it took the American Congress speaking about this, or people, whether it be the report that was done to highlight how bad the security situation in Nigeria, before we all begin to talk about trying to save the image of Nigeria and trying to talk about these issues, when we already know that we have a problem in security in the nation. Please don't spend taxpayers' money going abroad. Let us fix the issues here, and the facts will speak for themselves.
Rufai.
Isn't it a shame on our country and our leadership that the Senate President is saying everybody suffers attack? Yes, we know. But you are the Senate President. You've not moved a motion that the President must solve the problem of insecurity once and for all. Isn't it a shame that even when it happens, it takes time before they even react? We had to be the one here to be shouting before President Tinubu went to Benue. When it happened in Jos, they didn't go. In fact, I heard that the police IG that went to Jos, he didn't even reach where the thing happened. He just went to the capital of Plateau.
You remember that the president actually challenged him there?
Yes.
What is the problem?
Look at, isn't it a shame that all this while, something has confounded us for all this while, and insecurity has continued to grow and grow and grow in our country.
To Lawrence and Masara Kim and all of them, the journalists sitting in the big capital cities, the big cities and in the capital, who were taking the line from the government and didn't have the courage or the integrity or the professionalism or the character or the motivation to go to those frontline villages. They just bought the line from the government that it wasn't really happening, and they bought the line from the U.S. State Department that this is nomadic tribesmen being forced to move from climate change. The Fulani are not really terrorists. The fact that they're Muslims got nothing to do with it. Because they're nomadic tribesmen, they're looking for other land. They're looking to go somewhere, and that's forcing them to clash with the Christian villages. Nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. That is just an example to you of how climate has been used as a scam. I mean, it's not just fake, it's much worse than that. All of these systems that are being implemented that are so profoundly dishonest, they're systems of control. How do we control the people, control the information and the narrative, and then have that as cover to do whatever it is that we want to do, which, by the way, is to go into Christian villages and not only annihilate people. I mean, in one of the recent attacks that Truth Nigeria has reported on, putting women and children inside cages in the market and burning them alive. I mean, I was sitting down to dinner in my hometown in Texas one Friday night years ago. My husband was with me. It was when we were trying to get the sound of freedom was being blocked because people didn't want child trafficking to be a conversation everyone was having. And we were doing our best to help get that movie put out. And I got a video. I showed it to my husband as we sat down. He couldn't eat. And it was a young 18-year-old girl from Nigeria who was pulled from one of the villages. And as they were slicing off her head, they were digging her baby out of her tummy. And she was well advanced in pregnancy. That's the reality of what, when you put those numbers up and you go before your colleagues in Congress and you put those numbers forward, that's what it means in human terms. I mean, Lawrence once was calling Doug and myself, he's sitting in the back of a meat wagon on the bodies of his friends and neighbors with malaria. Remember, after that he went out with malaria for weeks. I mean, these the courage of the people who are on the front lines reporting this cannot be overstated. But the challenge that they face is that the media itself denies the reality that they see and report on with their own eyes and ears. I mean, that's without conscience. And honestly, I stand before all of you in the National Press Club of the United States of America, the most powerful free nation on earth, where we have First Amendment rights. And I cannot say strongly enough to the press corps, do your job. Do your job. Because we are supposed to be the inspiration and also the safety net for journalists everywhere. It is truly without conscience that you can witness the execution of people and have it denied because journalists are too lazy, too corrupt, too stupid, too cowardly to stand up and tell the truth. That is without conscience. And, we have to stop being afraid of what people will say to us. We have to stop allowing those who tell the truth to be punished and those who lie to be rewarded.
This only goes on platform, a platform that tell you undiluted truth. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.